Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic, and I just got out of the theater from going to see the new film Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt and a, let's just say, a plethora of supporting actors that all do an amazing job. And the first thing I need to say is that this is probably the most fun that I've had at the cinema in quite a long time. I mean, I really enjoyed Top Gun at Maverick this summer, but I enjoyed that more so because of the amazing visuals and because of some of the story dynamics and things like that. This was a movie that was just so entertaining from start to finish, with Brad Pitt's character being essentially someone, I just actually had read a comment before starting this video in the comment section on my latest video, saying that basically imagine John Wick if he was basically unsure of himself, someone who someone who has some emotional issues. And I think that actually fits it quite perfectly. Brad Pitt plays a character whose main job is to snatch and grab. Like that's his main thing, is he's just goes to places, he's sent to places to pick things up, but always when he does, things happen and somehow people die around him. There's this whole concept of him just being really lucky and surviving these things. But again, because of that luck, or bad luck as he views it, people just die around him. And so there's sequences where they show what this looks like. And then of course you have the main plot of the film where you see this play out. And at the very end, especially, you see it play out in a very, very, very funny sequence. It is definitely over the top. It is definitely an over-the-top sequence, but it does still fit in line with everything that was previously set in the actual film itself. And I really do think that is the best way to describe this film, is that it's crazy, it's over the top, but it's so much fun that you don't mind the lack of logic, and you appreciate the fact that it doesn't really try to justify that logic. It's very clearly a film that's just trying to be fun. I mean, just by the very fact that there are certain actors that come into play, whether it be random actors showing up as a supporting role, just a random cameo role basically, or whether or not it's actors who end up being bigger characters in the long run, where you're like, wait a minute, oh my goodness, is that who I think it is? Yes, it certainly is. And I'm gonna just leave it at that, because let's just say the big bad reveal at the end of this made me very, very happy, because I'm a very big fan of the actor involved. But I want anyone who has not seen it yet to not have any major spoilers when it comes to some of the other people that are not in the trailer, people who are not involved with this project. But all I can say, and again, I'm just very excited. It's a film that actually I just kind of want to go see again. And that's a very rare thing, I think, in a lot of the modern Hollywood films, is that typically you see the movie, maybe you chuckle a few times, and then you're like, yeah, I'm never going to want to see that again. This is a movie where it was actual laughing. It wasn't just chuckles. It was very consistent. I was in the theater probably with another 20 to 25 people in the bigger IMAX screen, so not a huge crowd. But all of us were laughing. All of us were having fun. There's these dark humor elements that are really good. There's more on-the-nose humor. There's great humor where it's that type where it builds up, and so the audience, like every person in the audience, slowly starts to catch on right before it actually happens. And so it's that almost initial laughter of, wait, I know exactly where it's going. Oh, there it is. And you enjoy it. So yeah, the story is ridiculous, over the top, nuts, but so much fun. It's just a fun movie. It's a type of movie where if you like action sequences, if you like action films, if you like just really quirky, fun comedy type stories, type films, I think that you're really going to end up enjoying this movie. And I would say this is well worth going to see in theaters, and I think especially seeing it with a crowd, because having that audience especially to feed off of makes it that much more fun. I do think that this film will definitely be able to stand even aside and even apart from an audience, though, because I do think that it's just that clever, and it will be interesting to see just exactly how well or not it holds up with an actual rewatch. But as I'm thinking right now, and as I'm thinking back to some of the jokes and even just the performances in the film too, they're all just really solid, because they are able to give, serious performances at the same time, though they're able to give comedic. Kudos to Brad Pitt in this film, because he plays the character very, very well that he's meant to play. He's very funny. There's a lot of great lines throughout the film. His character arc is a lot of fun too. Shout out, of course, to Tangerine and Lemon. You'll know more about them when you actually watch the movie. But those two were absolutely phenomenal as well. Those scenes probably were my favorite. But overall, you have very solid acting, very, very funny performances, well done. Well, again, it feels like it's rare to get good comedic performances, but in a movie like this, a rated R film, it earns that rating with the violence, with the blood and gore moments that exist throughout the movie as well. But it has that comedic tone throughout. It doesn't blow you, I think, over the head. It doesn't hit you over the head with it. It is just enough and just well paced enough to be able to get you involved, to get you invested, and just to have a darn good time. The one gripe that I would have with the movie is that it is a bit long in the tooth. I think that there are definitely moments that could have been cut back. I think that the story could have been a little bit crisper, a little bit cleaner. It's a little over of a 2-hour movie and probably would have suited better to be about 1 hour and 45 minutes instead. But with that being said, I do still think it was a darn good time. So if you're ready to have some fun at the theater, have a crowd experience with it too, that's how I'd recommend going to see it. And again, it's got acting, it's got that solid, it's got a great story, hilarious lines, great things like that. And I know that a lot of people do care about this, especially those who watch my channel. Not really any woke elements in the film either. In fact, there's one comment made about, let's just say it's about mansplaining, but it's done in such a way where you're like, I actually really appreciated the way that it's being presented, because it's not being presented in a preachy way, and I really appreciate that a lot. And so you might be able to try and take a couple of lines and say, maybe they're trying, but in the end, I don't think that there really is much to it. So yeah, if you want to have fun at the movie theater, go see Bullet Train. I think that this film, because it's not seemingly having a big weekend, it's projected to make around 30 million domestically, 30 million internationally. I think because this film gives audiences kind of what they want, where you're watching the film, you feel like you're getting these payoffs, you feel like you're just getting your money's worth because you're enjoying it so much. And then there's a great, it's not really a post-credit scene, but right after the initial credits start, there's a scene that just is icing on the cake, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it. It leaves the audience laughing, happy, and saying, that was a lot of fun. I like that a lot. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give this film an A-. This probably will end up being, oddly enough, this might actually end up being one of my favorite movies of the year. Is it the best made movie? Maybe not. Again, if I wanted to be critical of certain elements, like obviously the CGI usage is luckily very limited. I could talk about that. I could talk about even more about just the length of the movie too, and the realism, the lack thereof realism. But again, overall, because the film doesn't take itself as seriously, you're able to forgive those elements. And those are the kinds of films that I always enjoy, because it allows me to turn my brain off. A lot of people say, I like those, I just want to turn my brain off and enjoy and consume. And it's like, yeah, but there's films that are made to do just that, because they're actually done, they're doing that on purpose. And then there's other films where you say, well, if you just turn your brain off, you'll enjoy it. Luckily, this is the latter. This is a film where it's designed just to be a darn good time with a fun story to boot. It is a bit convoluted in its story, but it's a lot of fun. A- for me. I would highly recommend this film to anyone who had any interest in it or was waiting to hear what people would thought. But have you seen Bullet Train? Let me know. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? I thought it was hilarious. This is a film that I would really actually like to buy. I think that I'm probably going to buy the 4K. Hopefully they have a 4K Steelbook, because I'm a big collector with that. And let me know if you believe and agree with that in the comment section down below. If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button, slap that fire button, especially with this car video. Shout out to Jeremy Geeks and Gamers for the car video. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Keeper of the Bifrost and Chosen of Valhalla members over on Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals. Starting off with my Patreon supporters, we got Chris from the 80s, who you can check out on YouTube, Garrett Searles, Hymir Irie Hymason, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Laura, The Modern Major General Story, Father Luca Illick, Orange Hat Reviews, who you can also check out on YouTube, Rosetta Allen, whose YouTube channel's name is Eagle Rider, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, who also has a YouTube channel, and the Empress of the Universe, Tina B, who you can check out on her show that she does with the amazing Stephanie B, my Valkyrie, on a show called Soup to Nuts on Tina B's channel. Also to my Subscribestar peeps, we got Matt317, who you can support over on Twitch, same name, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod, The Beer Guru, and ZK-Man, who you can support over at xtheboundaries.co. And lastly, to my Locals members, we got Miss Minnesota Hockey Fan, How About a Hockey Player? We have UAB Mad Dog Mike Jackson for the win, Brett D90, and Robert Barnes, who most people should know about at this point, so go support him over at InfoWars, YouTube, and all the other locations that he is at. But if you want your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, check out that top link in the video description. Finds out all the places that you can follow me on social media, and also all the various platforms that you can support the channel, which include not only shoutouts, but also access to giveaways of 4K titles, Blu-rays, tons of other stuff like that, digital codes, and then also a way to get access to being featured on the channel once a month for the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we're talking about movies, pop culture, and pretty much anything the Chosen want to talk about. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out the video description. There's also access to a podcast that I do with John the Flick Pig Flickinger once or twice a month. And don't worry if you were wondering where the July episode is, because of scheduling conflicts, especially with John, we were not able to get that done, but we will have 2 episodes this month to make up for it, so don't you worry about that. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.